to continue or not to continue is considering your objections. So I don't think that one will affect. Maybe Mayor Jerry was asking, in what capacity did you submit? As a volunteer, as a friend, or as their lawyer?
Brought here. And as you are aware, there are so many parties that are concerned with this matter. And as one of the lawyers who are concerned in this matter, I had to step in to ensure that justice is done. But as whether you have instructions from him or not, that is the matter which is subject to a pronouncement, a decision of this honorable court. And I have put a disclaimer on that. I have not interacted with him, much as having a lawyer in search for his whereabouts.
The two accused persons were brought before this court for pre-taking and raising objection on the ground that they are civilians and therefore cannot be tried by this court. In reply, Councillor 5 Mushala and the Council for the State submitted that jurisdiction to try a person not otherwise subject to military law is provided under Section 117 of the UPDF Act. This court has looked at Section 117 G and H of the UPDF Act and finds that the accused persons are subject to military law. The objection is therefore overruled. We so rule. Features of offense. Colonel retired Dr. Chiza Besigye, Hajj of the year Rotary, and others still at large between October 2023 and November 2024, while in cities to wit Geneva in Switzerland, Athens in Greece, and Nairobi in Kenya, held meetings aimed at soliciting for logistical support and identifying military targets in Uganda with intent to increase the security of the defense forces. Colonel Dr. Chiza Besigye, have you heard and understood the child relative of Uganda?
They have.
Have you accepted or not accepted?
Don't.
Have you not entered? Hajj of the year Rotary, have you heard and understood the child relative of Uganda?
Yes.
You accept or not accept?
I don't accept.
Have you not entered? Statement of offense on count 2. An unlawful possession of firearms under Section 4, subsection 1 and 2 of the Firearms Act, Cap 320. Particulars of offense. Colonel retired Dr. Chiza Besigye, Hajj of the Rotary, on 16th November 2024, while at the Riverside Apartments in Nairobi, Kenya, were found in an unlawful possession of a pistol model 27 KAL number 765, which is commanded the model of the defense forces. Colonel Dr. Chiza Besigye, have you heard and experienced the charge of government?
I have.
Have you accepted the terms?
Don't.
Have you not entered the country? Hajj of the year Rotary, have you heard and experienced the charge of government? You accept or don't accept? A plea of not guilty entered in count 2. Count 3, statement of offense. Unlawful possession of firearms under section 4, subsection 1 and 2 of the Firearms Act, Act 320, which is commanded the monopoly of fixed forces. Colonel Dr. Besigye, have you had understood the charge related to the wrong thing?
I have.
And you accept the not accept?
Don't.
A plea of not guilty entered. A hard date to carry, have you had understood the charge related to the wrong thing? You accept the not accept? A plea of not guilty entered on the wrong thing. Count 4. Statement of offense. Unlawful possession of ammunition under section 4, subsection 1 and 2 of the Firearms Act, Act of 320. Particulars of offense. Colonel Dr. Besigye had to be tried on 16th November 2024 by the Riverside attachments in Nairobi, Kenya. They were found in unlawful possession of 08 rounds of pistol ammunition, which are ordinarily monopoly defense vessels. Colonel Dr. Besigye, have you had an assessment count 4? You accept or don't accept? You have not guilty?
Investigation is fasting. I feel that the person in our phone is involved in the prison. And I feel that the case due on judge.
As by the charge sheet, they were arrested together. And we became together. So it would be rational, Mr. Chairman, and reasonable to remand them in different facilities. In other words, there is no justifiable reason for them to be remanded separately. The justice of the case would demand that since they are joint charge and they have to prepare a joint defense, they should be in the same facility where they can access their lawyers to effectively give instructions on how to manage this matter. It will be a great inconvenience to the accused persons and their lawyers to be in different facilities, Kitalo and Besigye, without having any point where they can converge and discuss their joint defense, because they are in one charge. So in the interest of justice, we pray that the order be listed. They should be managed in one place. The most fundamental objection, Mr. Chairman, relates to the nature of the proceedings before this honorable court. That is our second objection. Mr. Chairman, regards it's about the propriety of these proceedings before this honorable court. It's our strong contention, Mr. Chairman, that these proceedings are managed, considering the charges that have been preferred against the accused person. If I may be permitted to substantiate, Mr. Chairman, when you look at the particulars of all these 5 counts, 4 counts rather, they relate to offences allegedly committed outside the jurisdiction of this honorable court. The first count talks about acts allegedly committed in Athens, Greece, Nairobi, and April 27 KL number 765. And also count 3, which talks about the same place, the Besigye apartment in Nairobi, Kenya. And count 4, the same place, which talks about ammunition. It's nowhere in these charges, there is nowhere in these charges where it's alleged that all these acts, the impandi acts, were committed within the jurisdiction of this honorable court, that is the territory of Uganda. Mr. Chairman, this court has got no universal jurisdiction for the entire world. That would be stretching the jurisdiction of this honorable court to levels of absurdity. That it can deal with any matter that is alleged to have been done, or any act or offense that is alleged to have been committed anywhere in the world. I would refer you, Mr. Chairman, to the provisions of Article 28, Clause 7, which provides that no person shall be charged with or convicted of a criminal offense which is founded on an act or omission that did not, at the time it took place, constitute a criminal offense. So in this particular case, Mr. Chairman, all the acts referred to here in this charge sheet, or highlighted in this charge sheet, do not constitute criminal offenses within the meaning of the laws of Uganda. Because the UPDF Act applies to Uganda and doesn't apply anywhere else. The boundaries of its application, the boundaries of the UPDF Act, are the confines of the territory of Uganda. It does not extend to Kenya, neither does it extend to Switzerland or Geneva. It's not a law applicable there. It's the reason here, Mr. Chairman, in the charge sheet, which we find to be incurably defective. It does not make reference to the laws of those respective countries where these acts are alleged to have been committed. Unlawful possession of firearms, contrary to Section 4, subsection 1 and 2 of the Firearms Act, Cap 320. Firearms Act of which country? Because we are talking about here Riverside, Kenya. And in law, this is considered to be a duplex charge sheet, which is ambiguous in nature. So the accused persons cannot understand the nature of the particulars of the charge sheet as they are spelled out in these particular counts. Because, Mr. Chairman, you are talking about Firearms Act of which country? Then we are talking about in count 4 on on 16th of November 2024, while at Riverside Apartments in Nairobi, Kenya, Colonel Dr. Besigye and Hajo Bedi Rutale were found in unlawful possession of 8 rounds of pistol ammunition, which are ordinarily the monopoly of the defensive forces. Of which country? Because we are talking about Riverside Apartment in Kenya. Are they a monopoly of the UPDF or KDF? In which case, this would determine the nature of the bully given by the accused persons as to whether the acts amount to an offense or not. So this is a defective charge sheet, Mr. Chairman, which should not sustain any criminal proceedings before this honorable tribunal. Lastly, Mr. Chairman, on count 1, offences relating to security, contrary to section 128(1)(f) of the UPDF Act, we presume this is Uganda People's Defence Forces Act of Uganda. That is the presumption, a rebuttable one, depending on the evidence given by whoever is preferring this charge. But we presume that they meant the forces of Uganda. This is again an absurdity, Mr. Chairman. Because when you talk about acts under the particulars of the offense, which relates to acts allegedly committed in Geneva, Switzerland, Athens in Greece, and Nairobi in Kenya, and you relate them to the UPDF Act of Uganda, it's a nullity from the word go. So, Mr. Chairman, it's our prayer that this honorable tribunal be pleased to dismiss the charge sheet. To strike out, Mr. Chairman. It's our prayer, Mr. Chairman, that this honorable tribunal be pleased to strike out this charge sheet and accordingly discharge the accused persons, because as far as this charge sheet is concerned, there are no cases that should be preferred against them within the laws of the Republic of Uganda. Finally, Mr. Chairman, the accused persons have been legally presented before you, Mr. Chairman. The two accused persons here traveled to Nairobi lawfully for a legitimate activity, which was never in any way questioned by the security agencies and were cleared by the immigration authorities of Uganda. So they have been in Kenya lawfully, or they entered Kenya lawfully. And Mr. Chairman, once you are in a foreign territory, you can only be returned forcibly through the due process of the law. If you do not return voluntarily and there are forces compelling you to return, they have to follow the due process. And there are only two ways under the law. Either extradition, that is under the Extradition Act of Uganda, or deportation. In which case, Mr. Chairman, if it's about extradition, it has to be upon a request of the Minister of Foreign Affairs that they are facing charges in Uganda here, and they are fugitives in Kenya, and they are demanding for assistance of the neighboring country to repatriate them back. We are not advised, it's not anywhere on record, Mr. Chairman, that has happened. It's not on record. If you are to be a deportation, it presupposes that they entered the country illegally, or having entered Kenya legally, they committed offenses in Kenya. Again, it will be the authorities in Kenya to handle that. And they have to go through the judicial process in Kenya. Deportation has to be by a court order given by the Kenyan authorities, Kenyan courts of law. So in this particular case, Mr. Chairman, the record does not bring out those facts that they were either extradited or deported. And according to Mr. Chairman, the has no choice but to terminate the same. It's our contention, Mr. Chairman, that the accused persons have been illegally produced before you They have not been repatriated, rather deported, neither have they been extradited. And if anything, Mr. Chairman, they have not even gone through the immigration back here. As we stand today, they are presumed to be in Nairobi, in Kenya. The law presumes that they are still in Kenya. It would be a very, very absurd situation, Mr. Chairman, for this honorable court to sit here to handle cases or matters involving the two individuals who are currently standing in Nairobi. In the dock where they are standing here, the law presumes that they are in Nairobi. And the court is sitting in Uganda. So, Mr. Chairman, that is an absurdity which cannot be condoned by this honorable court, honorable tribunal. So, those grounds, Mr. Chairman, we pray that you be pleased to strike up the charge sheet, dismiss the case, set the accused persons free unconditionally, and have them discharged. We do so, please, Mr. Chairman.
Is a breacher of statutes. And section 208 of Uganda People's Defense Forces Act, which is an act of parliament, states a person alleged to have committed the service offense may be charged or dealt with and tried under military law whether the alleged offense was committed in Uganda or out of Uganda. So to say that an offense which was committed as the case in Nairobi and that section preserves that. My Lord Chairman, honorable members.
For mention and ruling on what we have submitted on, and also the accused persons were hereby remanded to the government prison.
Simanyi na bwe tuyinza kuzidescribinga naye nga bintu bya kigwagwa kyenyinza okugamba bya kigwagwa ne bwe baali badde nga baagala okuteekawo ebisangosango bye bajweteka ku muntu obaako wogamba nti kale biriko akantuntu akatonotono koyinza okugamba nti beekuusa ku kiyinza okubanga ddala kyaliyo naye eno biringa byolaba ebiri mu movie mu katemba movie nti omuntu agamba nti emisango yagiddiza Athens mu Greece n'agiddiza mu Geneva Switzerland n'agiddiza Kenya n'omuleeta mu court martial eye Uganda. Abantu bano bavuddeyo batya ne bajja wano Kenya. Bava batya Kenya ne bajja Uganda. Tebayise na mu immigration. Dr. Besigye na Obed bafulumanga bayise mu immigration ku airport Uganda wano ne bayingira Kenya ne baba stampingira mu passport zaabwe bakomawo batya eno nga tebayise mu process yemu Kenya government nesigala nga ifuuse kyesirikidde. Tubalaze emitendera giri ebiri mwosobola okuddiza omuntu mu mateeka, either okoze extradition nga ono yaleka eno emisango gye yazza n'adduka kye bayita okubeera fugitive cowboy gye bayita kangaroo style, ssemateeka wa Uganda yenna tebamutunuuliddeeko n'akamubalinyiridde mulinnyirire. Ssemateeka yakirambika bulungi nti omuntu gw'osobola okuvunaana omusango n'ogamba nti gwe wazza omusango guno nga yaguddiza Uganda. Waliwo emisango emirala katugeze treason, kale singa badde bagamba nti treason gye yaddiza eri naye tebabaguddeeko musango gwa treason. UPDF Act n'amateeka gano amalala galaga nti emisango oyina kubavunaana gye bagamba gye baddiza wano. Singa ebadde treason baaligaa nti kale mwagiddiza eri, naye n'obateekako being in possession of a firearm nti wayina pistol, kyamenya amateeka agaawa ne batagateekamu nti which is a monopoly eya defense forces ezaawa ne bataziteekamu. Kenya yennyini gye bagamba gye babasanze ku Riverside bawa tenna complaininga nti waliyo abantu abayingidde ewaabwe mu bweru w'amateeka nga balina ne pistol. Kenya tenna ba complaininga, naye bano ne bakikola bwe batyo. So bino ebisango byakujwetekawo bujwetesi okugezaako okukola gye bayita persecution, naye si byamateeka. Bino bye tulimu kati si mateeka, wabula tuli mu nkola y'abantu abakola ebintu eby'ekikawuboyi.